11. The National Park Service must make available the tools and training needed to maximize the effectiveness of park managers. The shortage of staff in the national parks is a severe and growing problem. Unless immediate action is taken to stem the tide, our parks will not have the staff necessary to ensure that these places represent our national heritage and are enjoyed by visitors this summer and protected in perpetuity. There are 4 recommendations by the NCPA, which is Congress and the administration must provide the annual operating funds needed to staff and protect the national parks. The National Park Service should receive at least $50 million this year from the Department of Homeland Security to offset the Park Service's Homeland Security related expenses, including the protection of key assets and operational security at icon parks, radio upgrades, temporary relocation of staff on detail during Code Orange, and the maintenance of a service-wide incident management analysis and reporting system. It also recommends the National Park Service must continue to give priority to the training and hiring of personnel for management effectiveness. Measures must be taken to ensure that park managers have the tools needed to make the most effective choices about where to put their limited financial and human resources in current and coming years. The National Park Service renewed focus on volunteerism must be coupled with reasonable measures to ensure that the park staff and funding exist to support volunteer time and labor. Many people recognize the issues faced by the national parks and are trying to do something about them. As mentioned before, the National Park Service and other organizations are trying to implement new rules and management programs that will help reduce the impact that tourists have on these areas. Sustainability is a trend that many park managers are working towards, and many visitors recognize the impact they have and are advocating for these parks to go back to their natural, peaceful state. There are numerous ways that society can help protect these precious land areas. Laws, government contribution, regulation, and management planning are generally viewed as the solution to these problems and are done by the groups established for the protection of these parks. However, the public can also help these parks by raising awareness and making monetary donations to fund the innovations needed to restore these parks for future generations. Entrance fees are mandatory for many national parks, and others take donation from those willing to help preserve the parks. These fees and contributions are used to pay for the protection and management of the areas of the park that are environmentally sensitive. Of the 394 national parks in the national park system, only 147 charge entrance fees. These fees range from $5 to $25. The money stays with the National Park Service and is used to enhance services and facilities. This money is not used to revert the parks back to a more natural state, but there is a lot of public support to protect these special areas. Education and involvement is the key to reversing the negative impacts that tourists have on national parks in the United States. Many of the actions that are being taken to reverse the impact of tourists on national parks are just slowing down the degradation of the land. Tourists will continue to negatively impact these areas unless there is a continual education about why it is necessary to save the parks. Once educated, being a part of the solution will get more people to care about the problem at hand. Having good management plans or implementing sustainable practices are good ideas, but if people are not aware that they are in place, they may not be as effective. If they are educated about all of these ideas and principles, it will be easier for them to follow the guidelines to help protect the areas they enjoy visiting.